interest in the scientific nature of evidence. That's a compliment to you. But it also sometimes is a little bit of a weakness in that not everything is scientific and can be explained in very scientific terms, but that we do actually have some studies where we have groups of people who had careers interventions and groups who hadn't, and we can say something about the effect on that. So, by way of actually trying to bring my presentation to a close, I wish I had more time with you. But let me just share with you 10 key facts that career specialists know for sure. We know that childhood socialization influences adult work performance and job satisfaction. Early interventions are necessary. We know that the transition from school to work can be smoothed. We know that people who are left to their own devices completely, in some cases thrive and survive. In others, they feel abandoned and they fall out of the system. We know that if you know how the world of work is organized, it eases your decision-making and your transitions. And we know that people who have a high level of decision-making capability, if you're very quick at making decisions and you've not got very much complexity in your life, you actually experience much less need to have perhaps very, very in-depth compulsory careers interviews. And we also know that interventions support occupational choice. And just to give you a couple of examples, we know it because there was a 50-year longitudinal study to show that planful competence in early adolescence, so self-confidence, dependency, led to orderly careers in which individuals were stable and satisfied with fewer disruptions to their career and their marriages later on in life. And we have a whole wealth of facts. We know that having access to career exploration activities, if you're an adult and you're trying to find your place, we know if you have access to career exploration, it'll broaden your horizons, it'll motivate you, and it will hopefully help you find employment or suitable training. So we have these 10 key facts, and I'm going to give you a link to an online resource that you can actually use if you find this helpful in your practice to look very much at where is the evidence on these subjects. So number 10 is very much of interest at the moment. In our headlines, it said that lots of young people are being exploited in unpaid work and internships. We know that part-time work can help socialize individuals, but of course, we do want individuals to ensure they're not being exploited in the workplace. And if you are feeling now maybe the evidence base, I hope, doesn't seem as complicated and fragmented as maybe we've thought of it, there are lots of very practical examples in this online resource. Spreadsheets that have been used to look at inputs and outputs and how do you capture progression and achievement rates. How do you write reports for principals or governors who aren't interested in careers to show them the impact and the added value? Different survey questionnaires. And so in our world of the United Kingdom, we have diffuse services for adults, and this is where they're all operating in this diffuse environment. We are looking at all age services. We are looking at strategic instruments now. We're looking at a competence framework for practitioners so that we can bring practitioners into a family of career service providers, and we can develop competencies that help people who are foundation qualified, that's maybe with very few qualifications but lots of life experience, right up to PhD level. We are looking at this blueprint, and most importantly, across the UK, every one of our policymakers is looking at how can we use IT so that we can then identify who will get the resources, the priority groups. And because there is always a danger that careers work will get lost when you have to think about £156 billion cuts. We've actually, at the Institute of Career Guidance, our mission for the Institute is to maximise the UK's talent. Now, we weren't sure about that when we came up with it, when we reviewed our language. But as an institute, we decided we have to start using the words of the man and woman on the street. So while we are an institute of professional advisors, our mission is to maximise the UK's talent. And we've launched a campaign, and we have now got, on Facebook, we have 550 people who have signed up to the Facebook campaign. We've got 157 large-scale employers who are actually saying, we will endorse a campaign for careers that says that UK career services do maximise talents and skills. We have to realise everybody's potential through universal services, not targeted services. Universal first for all, and then some targeted provision. We must ensure that individuals are entitled to impartial careers work. We heard evidence of head teachers locking a young person in a cupboard to say, you will stay on in our sixth form, won't you? We have got to actually eradicate that kind of behaviour. We want access to well-trained and qualified professionals. We want tangible results. When the policymakers say, we're going to cut this budget, we're going to say to them, you do realise if you cut that budget, you will have X number of thousand people unemployed. Those people will feel abandoned, and there's a professional association with our strategic partners signed to the campaign. We will be making noise, and we will be making sure that you actually embrace excellence in careers work. So that, I would like to conclude a little bit just before 2 o'clock. I hope it hasn't seemed a little bit too hurried for you. I hope you will see that today is the start of a conversation with me. And I wanted to say, really, thank you for the work that you do with your clients or in the design and development of services. In our busy lives, we seldom take time to actually congratulate ourselves on that which we achieve with the limited resources. Now, if you like, you could turn to the person next to you and give them a pat on the back to say well done as a symbol of congratulations. And we're doing this because our citizens deserve a good deal. We need professional codes of ethics to protect vulnerable individuals from malpractice. We need continuing professional development, and we need professionals like you whose voices need to be heard. But only you will be heard if you gather the documentation, if you think about hearing and listening to what people's opinions are, and you begin to put together stories of impact that you can share with others. Thank you.